And so as we're sitting here, just being aware of posture and breathing, and being here in the room with everybody. Okay, you can open your eyes. So for this session, it's just a session in which I'm guiding you to be in touch with the four establishments. So basically it's kind of like little mini guided meditations, where like when you're doing counseling with someone, it's like meditation. You're sharing awareness together and you're getting in touch with different things. So it's kind of like meditation, but it's in the context of interacting as opposed to just by yourself. So, okay, so I'll start with, okay, so first just being aware of posture, just aware, okay, I'm sitting here in this chair. So just take a few moments just to be aware, okay, I'm sitting. Okay, so you've tuned in, you feel yourself sitting. Okay. So now I'll do four elements. So in terms of earth element, what do you notice, what are some sensations that you notice in terms of heavy to light or hard to soft in terms of earth element? It can be whatever, there's nothing in particular.
Right now, I feel like my body weights on the chair. So the contact with the body, my body with the chair.
Right.
So that's a more heavy feeling.
Right. A heavy gravity sensation.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So that's
my feet. Yes. Those are the sensation.
okay. The weight of your body in the chair, the contact of your feet on the ground. Those are two examples of earth element that you're experiencing. Okay. I'll just go ahead and kind of mix around. So would you say the sensation is pleasant, unpleasant, neutral?
Neutral.
Right.
I don't feel uncomfortable or extra happy.
Yeah, just neutral. So we would say earth element, neutral. Right? Okay. So you can just tune in, okay, this is the earth element, and right now it's neutral sensation. So just be aware of that for a moment. Okay, so now the water element's a little trickier, but just aware your body contains a lot of liquid. And so in a sense it also has weight to it. So it's kind of like earth, but it's not the same, it's a little different. So yeah, can you notice just a general sense of fluid in the body in terms of just experiencing, oh, my body has fluid inside of it? So for me, it's like it's kind of like earth element in that there's weight, but if I'm tuning in to liquid in the body, it's like say I had a plastic sack of water, right?
Yes, I feel like that.
Yeah, right.
I'm feeling more like I'm
Yeah.
ballooned with water
Yeah.
inside. So
Right.
the earth element is not there anymore. My focus is not on the
Right.
earth element.
Right. Okay. Okay. And then, so would you say that's pleasant, unpleasant, neutral?
Neutral.
Right. Okay. So just be aware of that. The water element as neutral. Okay, then we could add to that. Do you notice, like, in your mouth, can you feel just a little bit of like liquid in your mouth? If you just, right? So that's just a little small area, but an example of it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now for air, as you're sitting here, try to be aware just the movement of your body related to your breathing. So you're aware of movement itself, in addition to the experience of the air with your lungs, you know, expanding and contracting. Okay? Okay, so what are some particular sensations you might notice with the movement?
I feel a little bit heavy, a little bit, because
Mhm.
it's when I'm relating, you know, I'm trying to focus. So as the beginning is, it feels heavy.
Okay.
Because of quote, the movement of air that
Right.
I feel as it enters and exits.
Okay, and where do you feel it?
I feel more around my nostril area.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I first encountered it. Initially, it's more heavy.
Right.
Yes.
So it's the sensation of air at the nostrils, and it's somewhat denser
Dense.
because
Yes.
you're tuning into it.
Yes. Yes. It
Right.
feels more dense. Instead of the light, I feel like there's a weight to the
Right.
air that I'm breathing in.
Right. But not as dense as, say, your bones, right? It's like,
No,
it's much
not
less
that.
dense
More
than
movement.
Right.
It's like, yeah, like you feel there's texture, there's like movement.
Right. Yeah, and the four elements always kind of mix, so there's always a little of everything going on. But, okay, what do you notice in terms of the breathing inside your body? It could be like your belly or your lungs. What sensations do you notice?
More on my lungs for now. Refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Okay.
It feels refreshing that, you know, as I follow the breath because it comes in and out.
Okay, so it's pleasant sensation
Yes, pleasant.
in the lung area.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So just notice it for just a little bit. And do you notice the refreshing any more or less with inhale versus exhale, or is it about the same?
I notice more with inhaling
Mhm.
than
Right.
exhaling.
So there's an experience of freshness as you're inhaling in your lungs.
Yes.
Right. Okay. So the idea is that it's a specific location. It's not just somewhere, right? So, but it's pretty subtle, right? But it's noticeable, right? Yeah. There's a refreshing.
Yeah, it
So
feels cooler. Somehow the air feels cooler as I inhale versus exhale.
Right. Okay. So then we can also say then in terms of the fire element, which is hot to cold, you're also noticing coolness, and it's also pleasant.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so that's good. So keep being aware then of the coolness of the inhale, but now being aware of the coolness instead of the movement.
Okay. So
It's
so
the
is it a
same-
one?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, yeah, you can notice the alternating between the cool and the warm with the inhale and the exhale as a detail of the fire element. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so you can feel the change in the temperature.
Yes.
Okay.
So did you notice that?
Yeah. And it's still like the inhale's a little bit pleasant, and then is the exhale, what do you notice in terms of pleasant, unpleasant, neutral?
Neutral.
Neutral,
Yes.
right? So just like a little pleasant, neutral, little pleasant, neutral, cold, warm, cold, warm.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that, now just have a general awareness then of your body and the posture again. We've done the 4 elements. And so now just coming back to the body in general. Okay, so as you're aware of the posture and the breathing, now just become aware of awareness. So just the experience that you are aware. And you may notice maybe there's an awareness feeling kind of in the heart area. But the main thing is just an experience of being. Usually people will feel it somewhere in their body as opposed to like somewhere out in the room somewhere, right? So just tune into that for a little bit. Okay, so are you aware of just an experience of being or awareness?
Yes.
Mhm.
I experience more of being, so like I'm physically here. There's a shape or form, which is my body here.
Right. And so it's like, okay, I'm aware of my body here. And I guess we would say that the experience of the body is happening in your awareness. Also within your awareness, you'll hear my sound, I'm talking, and then if I stop talking, you'll notice some silence. Or you'll notice, there's sounds happening in the room. And these things are just coming and going in your experience of awareness. Okay, then also you may, have some thoughts happening. And so you'll just notice, thoughts come and they go. Okay?
Yes. Is it normal to experience like that? That it does come to the honest?
Yeah.
So actually my mind at that moment sometimes switches between, say, sensations, pleasant and pleasant, and then body, and then also the surrounding sound at the same time.
Yeah.
So I just let it be. Just notice that different things as sounds and sensations arise at the same time.
Yeah, you could say you have 6 channels. So the body channel is one of the main ones, and it's happening all the time. So there's, the contact you're sitting in the chair, but also just the feeling of your body in general. So within your awareness, that's happening. And then, yes, you're seeing, you're hearing, you're smelling, you're tasting, and thoughts are happening. So if you're just resting in awareness, it's basically different things coming and going within those areas, you can say. So there's the objects that come and go, and the awareness in which they're coming and going. Yeah? Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Okay, so that would be then your heart mind is just the awareness in which it's happening. Sometimes people will notice it like radiating from the heart as like a more concentrated zone of awareness in which the greater awareness is happening. But we can just say it's your experience of awareness. Okay? Okay, so we can say then what we've just done is the Kaya, the Vedana, and the Chitta. So for Dhamma, I'll give you an example of how it could happen with Dhamma. Say we're sitting in meditation and I hear the sound of someone clicking their mouse, right? So that's a sound happening, right? Okay, then I can start having thinking happening. Oh, why is that happening? I don't like it. Or compared, like the sound of the clicking compared to the sound of the silence that the clicking is happening, I'll feel like, oh, I want more of the silence, and I don't like the clicking, right? Because even though the clicking is not that big of a sound, it's just a little sound, right? But compared to the silence, it's like, oh, it's kind of disturbed, right? And then, especially this is, okay, so there's contact, sensation, and the sensation can be pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And then that can give rise to an intention emotion. I want this, I don't want that. So that would be the experience then of contact and sensation happening inside the links, right? So when we say Dhamma as the links, then we're saying, okay, there's a sound happening, but it's happening inside this experience, which one of the common things is, oh, I'm sitting and there's something pleasant, I want to grab onto that. I'm sitting and there's something unpleasant, I want that to go away. So it could just be direct sound, or it could be thinking about something, and then it gives rise to the emotion. So then,
so in that case, that can be distractions in a way.
yeah.
So how can I bring back my focus when I know, because when I was distracted, of course I'm following my distraction.
Yeah.
So I don't know I was being distracted until at some point I must be aware that, we're doing sessions. I have to bring my focus back.
Yeah.
So during that moment of distractions, I just have to know that I was distracted for a moment.
Yeah. So if it's in meditation, okay, I'm sitting, I'm counting my breath, I'm aware of the silence in the room, it's pleasant, and then like I hear some clicking, and I'm like, oh, it's unpleasant. I want the silence. I don't want the clicking, right? So that's my mind. There's contact, and then I'm starting to think, right? And the thinking is not the counting, and it's not the breath. The thinking is thinking, right? Right? So I recognize, oh, that's thinking, and then I come back to the counting and the breath. And then I'm aware, oh, okay, there's silence. That's nice. Oh, there's clicking. It's just clicking. It's not that big a deal. It's just clicking happening. It's not a big deal. So I'm just now I'm back in the present. So I'm not getting into the links and getting carried away. So with a specific practice like counting the breath, okay, I'm sitting, and then I come into contact with something, and then if I start having, you have contact, you have sensation, the sensation is pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, and it can just stay there. But sometimes then an intense emotion comes up, and then it's like you start getting engaged and start getting involved, right? So in meditation, that can mean a thought comes up, an emotion, and then there's like a whole thing that starts happening, right? So when that's happening, you just notice, okay, my mind is starting to move away from the counting and the breath into the thinking and whatever's going on. So if I notice, oh, I lost the count, it means I really got caught up. So I have to start over again at 1. Or you might stay with the count, and it's starting to happen, but you don't lose the count. And then, so then you just become aware, oh, thinking is happening, and then I come back to the breath and the counting. And then usually the thinking, that particular thought, because you're not doing it anymore, it'll just stop. So that's like in meditation. So the idea, like, I'm counting the breath and I'm just aware of what's happening. If a thought happens and it comes and goes, that's fine. If a thought happens and I start getting engaged, then my attention is moving away from the breathing and the counting, and I should bring it back. Yeah. When you're in counseling with somebody, you're in the present moment, so you're aware of your posture, your sensations, your breathing, and then you're listening to the person talking, right? So you're seeing in terms of the body language, and then you're hearing in terms of the voice. So you're just paying attention to what the person is saying, and so you're just trying to be present, taking in what they're saying. As they're talking, you might have some thoughts come up about what they're saying, right? And so that's just part of listening. Oh, you notice, and it's part of the listening. But then you just come back to just the listening, right? But it could also be you're sitting there doing counseling, and then you start thinking, oh, what am I going to do after counseling? Like, or, wow, that breakfast was really good this morning, or, something like that, right? Okay, so then you just have, oh, my mind is wandering from the session, so I have to come back, right? If it's just a little bit, you'll probably still hear what the person said, right? If it's a big wander, you might not hear what the person's saying. Then you come back and you realize, oh, I kind of wandered for a little bit. If it feels like it wasn't for too long and we're still in the overall discussion, just go along like as if nothing happened. If you're really spaced out, then you kind of have to say, oh wait, sorry, I kind of spaced out for a moment. Can you repeat that, right? Okay, but that's if you have a good relation with the person. If it's your first session, don't say that. So the point is, you're in the present moment and things are happening as you're talking. So it could be you're doing reflective listening and somebody's saying something and then something comes up. You may reflect in the moment, or you may feel like, oh, that's important. I'm going to ask about that later. So as you're talking, you blah, 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 and then later on you say, oh, as you were talking, this came up. So the idea is that when you're in the present moment, and this is true for meditation or counseling, is what's happening, does it feel like it is substantial and has meaning, or is it insubstantial and just not that important? So as you're in meditation, you can be aware of sensation, you can have emotion come up, there may be something substantial happening, and you're paying attention to it. Or it could be just random thoughts that don't have any importance. Doesn't matter very much. So when you're listening to someone, you want to be present and in your body with what they're saying. And then you're just paying attention. What's important, what has substance, what doesn't really matter. So in terms of your reflection, you want to reflect back, okay, what is substantial? Or if you want to ask a question or something, it's like you want to stay on what is substantial. Yeah?
So usually how long do you would go to the sessions in terms of, with the body sensations, awareness? Would that be a separate sessions, or how long would usually incorporate in that session? Is it also depends on the, say on the client, depends on my mood that day, or where I'm getting caught in terms of that, or how do we know how long are we going to have the clients go on for the sessions of the after going through the heart, mind, the body, and then the sensation.
Right. So what we just did in the beginning was like a formal thing of me tuning you into these things, right? So that would be if you're in Buddhist counseling and the person says, I want to formally learn this stuff, so then you would be teaching it to them. So that could be brief like we just did, or it could be, okay, we're going to meditate together, say 15 minutes, 30 minutes, and we're going to do counting the breath, or we're going to do the body scan. And then you can ask them about their experience of what happened. Then there can be, you're just in counseling with someone, they're talking, and then an emotion comes up, and then in the session you would, okay, where do you feel it in your body? Like 2 weeks from now we're going to do more being with emotion and how to process it. Next week we'll practice together what we're doing here. That seems to be the way this is going. If it's a small emotion, it's not that big of a deal. It may just be during the session, like say 5 or 10 minutes, you do that, right? If it's like something big that needs to be worked on, then you could be spending most of the session doing it. So this gets into somatic counseling or body-centered counseling. And so you could, within that hour, you could spend like 45 minutes doing a guided body scan practice with the person. And so then that could be like a guided meditation where you go through part by part, or it could be they're working on something in particular, and then there's different techniques you use. It's like, if something unpleasant is happening, normally you would start with something pleasant in another area, and then you would work neutral or pleasant. Like say, usually if someone's having a strong emotion, it's usually like in the belly or the heart. So what I would usually like to do is, okay, let's start in the feet, because your feet are pretty chilled out, you know. So that's, the feet are neutral to pleasant, and then you just gradually work towards what is unpleasant, and you only get to a certain point where it starts to be intense, and then you go back down to the feet, right? And then so during a session you might do that a couple of times, and that might take 45 minutes. So in this class we'll learn a little bit of how to do that, and then later on in the program we'll have, we're still working out the details. It could be a whole class on somatic counseling, or when we do the practicum we'll spend a whole bunch of time doing that. Yeah. Okay, any questions in the final moments here? Oh, it's already past time. Okay. Okay, thank you for participating. So